All right, Zach. It's our 80th episode. Are you excited?
Oh, yeah.
What do you want to see? We got Evil Dead Rise or Chevalier?
I'm thinking Chevalier.
That's a good point.
It is my number 4.
In that case, Chevalier it is.
Hi, friends. I'm Zach.
I'm Mitch.
And we are Excellent Little Podcast.
Presenting you a little movie podcast starring Zach and Mitch.
And Mitch, I think we're doing a podcast.
I think we're doing a podcast too, and we're going to the French Revolution time.
We are, with a not as well-known story from the French Revolution.
Not at all.
So, we are talking about Chevalier.
Chevalier.
Studio brought to you by Searchlight Pictures, which means because Searchlight is now owned by the Walt Disney Company, we are Disney cast members, so we do not speak for the brand or the company, and our thoughts and opinions are our own. Director is Stephen Williams, and the screenplay was by Stephanie Robinson.
Yes. Well, such pizzazz, Zach.
Yes.
You did so well.
Yes. But one thing that we definitely have to do is to summarize this movie.
That's true.
Which would be based on the true story of a composer, Joseph Boulogne, Chevalier de Saint-Georges, the illegitimate son of an African slave and a French plantation owner who rises to the height in French society as a composer before an ill-fated love affair.
You did so well with that, Zach.
Thank
Bravo.
you. There's poetry from IMDb.
So in that case, shall I split up the episode?
Let's do it, my friend.
All right. So you just heard our introduction. Thank you so much, Zach Preiwisch, the Chevalier of Preiwisch.
I'll take it.
You'll
I'll
take it?
I'll
Awesome.
take
Very good. So we are now about to head into our non-spoiler section. Well, where Zach will give his thoughts since it's his number 4.
Yep.
I will give my thoughts. We will talk about the cast performances and other non-spoilerly things. Then we will give our honest review. Well, Zach will kindly break that down, and we will give our honest review.
Yeah.
Then we will sound a not so subtle alarm, allowing you all to, if you wish to leave, you will. But because by that time, we will hit our spoiler section.
All right. Can I go ahead and give my first thoughts?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Yeah. I adored this movie. I thought that this was really, really good. I thought the cast actually did pretty well with it. I thought the music was really wonderful. Directing wise was also really, really good. I will say there were a few times in the script where I thought it didn't dig into it as much as I would want, and some of the lines were, I don't know. Yeah, the lines were a bit simple in some of the cases. Like, it was just like, okay, I need to go do this. Jot, jot, jot. Okay, I'm there. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Okay, but those lines kind of took me out of it every now and again. But overall, I thought the screenplay was actually pretty decent. So, Mitch, what are your thoughts on Chevalier, just kind of out of the theater?
So I enjoyed it, but I'm also with you. I thought the screenplay was a little weak. I still enjoyed it. I thought it told a story, but I feel like they played it a little too safe. I feel like there could have been so much more talked about in this story. I feel like there should have been a lot more talked about in this story. But I will agree the performances of the cast were amazing. I love the directing style. I love the directing choices that were made.
Yeah.
So I have to give credit where credit is due there. But without further ado, let's talk about the great Chevalier, played by Kelvin Harrison Jr. Bravo, dude.
Yeah.
You did so good.
This was so good. He really does do that balance well of I've earned my place, but I know the place that I've earned doesn't really want me. But I'm going to be there anyway, kind of a like feel. And he plays it so darn well.
Yeah,
his charisma really plays in each scene, and flat out anytime that he is on screen, which is the majority of the movie, thank God.
Yeah.
He steals every scene.
Yeah,
like
I agree.
he has that charisma that like almost I would say like after Will Smith like had like a couple of like movies under his belt he kind of earned, this guy has it just naturally, which
Right.
so I'm really looking forward not only to see what happens with this role. I'm looking forward to see what this dude gets after Chevalier, which I'm really excited for.
I'm very curious what award nominations he's going to get, because he's going to get looked at.
He should be looked at.
He did it phenomenally. I really there wasn't ever a spot where I'm like, okay, this is just him overacting or whatever. No, he was doing it superbly.
It was really well done.
And so here's the thing I have a feeling we might disagree on.
Okay.
Samara Weaving as Marie Josephine. She wasn't that great.
Oh, really?
I didn't think she was that great.
I thought she was really wonderful in the role.
She was fine. I just think there were some choices that she made, or I was just like, but I have a feeling that wasn't her fault. I think it was the script.
Yeah.
So I feel like she was a victim of not so great script when it comes to her character, but I feel like with what she got, she did well, but I feel like the script didn't really help her character all that much.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, honestly, I actually adored her and her character. I think, yeah, there were some script things that were kind of not so great, but it was also indicative of Chevalier too, and I actually noticed it more on Chevalier's lines than I did on Marie's lines, if I'm honest. But there were a couple of times where she had a couple of lines where I was like, maybe not the best
delivery or whatever.
Well, not the best delivery, just not the best line to
say
written. So, but I really adored her, and I think that she was actually a big standout of this movie too.
That's fair.
All right, but one thing that we should definitely talk about, because it is a composition movie, is the music.
It was so good.
Okay, I thought the music was really, really well done. It sucks because, a little minor spoiler, because of Napoleon Bonaparte, a lot of Chevalier's work was actually destroyed. So we don't have very much of it. But one thing that I wish that we would have been a little bit more obvious of, which was when his work was being played, I would have liked to have known that. And also, I feel like the music itself, while it did a really good job of its setting music, I think its other music of just being played through normal scenes and whatnot, when it wasn't around an orchestra or whatnot, I feel like that music could have been elevated a little bit more.
I would agree with that. There were some bits in the film where I'm like, oh, I really wanted more of what his music could have been during this time, because this time period, it's very heavy.
It's fiery.
Literally.
It's spicy.
So I feel like, obviously we don't, like you said, we don't really know what his work was.
Yep.
So I feel like I just wanted to hear a little bit more of what he was able to do during this time period.
Well, I mean, we're talking about the time period. Let's talk about this time period.
Absolutely.
Because this is the time of Marie Antoinette, where well, of course, it was her husband that was enacting most of the policy.
Sure.
She also had a hand in a few things, of more cultural things, but she still was the queen.
Absolutely.
And a lot of friends were not happy with a lot of things going on in France at that time.
No, not at all.
So I think the revolution was handled very interestingly on this aspect. I think it lent itself a little bit more at the beginning. But at the same time, it sort of makes sense with the story, because in the beginning, Chevalier was a close confidant of Marie Antoinette.
That he was.
So it's very, very interesting to kind of see. It was interesting to have this story taking place at this certain time.
Yes,
So,
I would agree with that. It really makes you think on what happened during that French Revolution, because we're all just used to this, the Les Miserables story of the French Revolution. I know
let them eat cake, all the stereotypes of the time.
Well, and Assassin's Creed did a video game about it too.
Yep.
But this, I'm just like, oh wow, this was started by well, not the rebellion itself, because the rebellion was already started.
Yeah.
But it was like, oh wow, this man had something to do with what happened.
Well, and it was also kind of nice to kind of see it from a high society aspect of it, but of like a high society through an outsider's lens, which Chevalier kind of was a little bit of an outsider of it. Like he was definitely part of high society, but high society made it clear that he was only there because they wanted him to be.
Yeah, there's a few. I will say this also. There's a few lines that are extremely cringeworthy, and it made me almost sick to my stomach a few times. So this viewer discretion, I would say, is advised.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and that's another thing too. The trailers did kind of market it to have like a little bit of action, and there was one action scene. But that was it.
Yeah.
There was
It's more of a drama.
It's definitely more of a drama, and a romance drama at that. And not that that's a bad thing, but it's. But we do want you guys to be prepared for that kind of going into the movie. And then one thing that Mitch, I feel like you really wanted to kind of talk about, which is
So my question to Zach was, because we saw it this movie separately.
Yep.
I asked the question, and I also asked this to you, the viewer. You can comment this, please do. This film asks the question, what other stories that involved people of color in the 1700s to 1800s
that we're missing,
that we are missing, and that are probably still searching for? What stories that do you know about that you think needs to be told on screen, or whether it's film, television, whatever? What needs to be told? What should be told? Because Chevalier, this story should have been told a long time ago.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
It's a shame that it hasn't, because to be honest, the way how I found out about this movie was through TikTok initially.
I did too.
Through Straw Hat Goofy, and he broke this down of like how like this is so cool that we get to kind of see the story, and I was like, yeah, which is what started my excitement for it, and over time it just kind of grew into my number 4. So yeah, it's a really good question, and I don't think I'm educated enough to answer that.
I'm definitely not.
And so yeah, comment
please.
We'd love to hear these stories that we're missing. But with all that being down, let's go ahead and review it. So we review things a little bit differently here. We have 3 different categories. We have our lowest category, which is Feed It to the Dog, which we didn't think it was a great movie, but we think you should still go see it and form your own opinion. We then have Cook a Little More, which it was an okay movie, but it just needed a little spice, a little seasoning, maybe a director change, actor change, a glass of wine to bring it up to clean, not a clean plate, but Eat It Up, which is where we really enjoyed the film. We thought it was a really wonderful film, and you should definitely see it in as best of a format as you can.
All right. So without further ado, Zach, since it's your number 4, I know technically it's my turn.
Yeah.
Will you do the honors?
Okay, yeah. I ate this movie up. I loved the direction that they took with it. There was a couple of things that kind of left me a little bit to be desired, but overall, I really enjoyed this film from start to finish. I thought it was a really great movie.
Yeah, I'm going to say I ate it up too. So yeah, I did have a few beefs with the screenplay, a few performance issues that I witnessed, but again, it wasn't their fault. I feel like it was just more of a screenplay thing, and also the marketing was a little off.
Yeah, the marketing was a little bit off on it, and that's sometimes indicative of some movies, that the marketing only gets like these few clips, and they make the best of what they can out of it. The marketing did not match the movie, but the movie was still really, really good to back up.
Yeah, I would also agree with that. Like sometimes if the marketing doesn't match, if the movie's still good, the movie's still good. Yeah. I can't fault it for that. So yes, to me, it's a needed up. All right. So before we go to our next category, if you will, comment, like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. We want to hear what you have to think about this film or any other stories that we mentioned.
Yeah.
Because we want to hear your thoughts.
Oh, yeah.
We do. All right. Or email us at elpodcastmz@gmail.com.
Or follow us on Shorts or TikTok if you can. But I think it's time to get into our spoiler section, my friends.
Let me play on the world's smallest violin.
All right, buddy. You're no Chevalier and composed. It's okay. It's all right. You're doing okay. It's good, but we are in our spoiler section, my friends. Why not open it up with the opening of the film, which is Mozart versus Chevalier.
That was the best scene of the movie.
Actually, to me, I thought it was very cliche.
Oh, it was cliche.
I was like, it's okay. I wasn't the biggest fan of the guy who played Mozart, but
oh no, he's terrible.
But I was like, all right, yeah, if you're gonna introduce a character as like this brilliant mastermind,
yeah,
bring it up to Mozart to show how good he is. I agree.
No. But I have a feeling that, I don't know if it's true or not, but I have a feeling that did happen.
It's possible. It's definitely possible.
But I love that. That was the best scene in the movie. And the whole time I'm watching this, I'm like, oh, I want to clap. But then I remembered, oh, I'm in a movie theater.
Yeah.
It was
But
sad.
one thing that I really thought was interesting was actually at the end of the film.
Yes.
Which is why the Marquis did not shoot Chevalier or even arrest him, I thought was really interesting. Because we go throughout this entire film of the Marquis being like, I am the right hand of the Queen. I serve the Queen to the end, and I will do anything, and that this guy is a brute. He has been treating revolutionists terribly and given no quarter. And when the Queen said to do something, he didn't do it, which I found so freaking interesting.
Yeah, really.
And I almost wonder why they had him arrest him, because to me it just didn't fit his character.
No.
But it was so interesting, and I really did think that it was a very interesting way to leave off the film, and a really kind of fun way to leave off the film.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It was really almost like gut wrenching.
Yeah.
At times.
Well,
too.
because he had so much to lose. Because I mean,
He had
you
a
have
wife.
it's the person that he was cheated on. Like he had so much to gain from Chevalier's arrest / murder but for some reason he didn't pull the trigger, and I think that's just so interesting.
All right. So that's Chevalier.
My friends. So like we said, go ahead and leave a like and a comment and subscribe. Ring that notification bell. Email us at elpodcastmz@gmail.com.
But until next time,
I'm Zach.
I'm Mitch.
We are Excellent Little Podcasts.